watching your cell phone, this is the moment to do it. Share the program. This is the only show that airs on our social media, and of course, that the Houston Police Department is in charge of producing, of preparing, of putting together. And of course, this is done with much love and with the goal to prevent crime, the goal to inform you about the latest and greatest, and of course, to highlight some of the topics that we have pointed out today. So stick around here with us. Share the program today in Community Shield, Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022. On this edition, mental health issues. The Houston Police Department has a response for that. We have a unit that works on those specific issues, and of course, it's something that is it's happening at this time. That's why we have chosen Officer CIRT Officer CERT Unit Officer O'Neill and clinician Victoria Arimagdi. She is going to be representing today from this unit, and of course, another topic that we're going to be covering later on in this program is going to be hot vehicle deaths and HPD's recommendation. We have Officer Abiona from the South Gessner Community Service Unit joining here with us in the program. And of course, animal attacks, that's something else that's going on in the city. And we have a response and some tips that we want to discuss here with you. We have Veronica Hernandez is going to be joining us from the Department of Neighborhoods from the city of Houston. She's got some tips, and of course, there is a meeting that's happening today, and she wants to remind you of that. And we also have a real cool video from GH POW. They have a summer program happening, so stick around. It's going to be a very dynamic program. We're going to be moving pretty fast on these topics. And of course, every program, we have community service liaison. We have Officer Rafael Pantoja with us. Good day. Rafael Pantoja, how are you doing, sir?
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, but more importantly, share the program. That's what we want you to do. We want the masses to get all this information, and we have special guests to cover very important topics. Unfortunately, every year we have these unfortunate incidents where kids are left in vehicles, and unfortunately, we have the results are fatal. So please pay attention. There's a lot of tips that you can follow, a lot of information that you can share with other people to try to avoid becoming a victim or really having your child suffer this type of a tragedy. I mean, we're in the summer. A lot of people, parents go to work. Sometimes they say, well, I'm going to leave my kids with my grandparents, right? And the grandparents are not used to really having a kid in the back seat. So it's important to follow some of these tips to avoid these types of tragedies. And of course, we're going to be covering mental health. We've covered it before, but it's never enough, really.
That's right. And we also have Officer Michael with us. I am sure you want to meet him. He is kind of shy. He's hiding on this side of the studio. So you're going to meet him in just a few minutes in Community Shield. Officer Abiona, how are you doing, sir? Welcome to Community Shield.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Community Service Officer. He's an extraordinary, and that's why he's here with us. Now let's get into some of the hot topics that we're going to be discussing today before we go into the issues with our mental health situation in the city of Houston, and our officers from the CERT Unit, Officer O'Neill, and clinician Victoria and Arimagni. A man was reported shot and killed during an attempted carjacking in northwest Harris County. This incident was reported around 7:07 p.m. on Monday at the 10,700 block of Brentway Drive. Now, deputies arrived to the scene and found a 29-year-old complainant, Sean Ramirez, unresponsive with multiple gunshot wounds. The EMS responded to the scene, and of course, they pronounced him dead. Witnesses reported that Ramirez was shot during an attempted carjacking. Now, the suspect is described as a white Hispanic male, thin-built, wearing a dark-colored sweatshirt, a dark-colored cap, tan pants, and dark-colored backpack. The suspect was last seen fleeing on foot eastbound on Brentway Drive. Investigators urge the community that if you have any information regarding this case, that you want to call the Harris County Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit at 713-274-9100 or Crime Stoppers at 713-TIPS. The importance, Rafael, of if somebody has a gun pointed at you, maybe just comply and save your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime someone's got a weapon, a deadly weapon pointed at you, just give them whatever they're asking for. It's not worth your life. whether it's money, whether it's a cell phone, it's just not worth your life. Give them whatever they need. Hopefully, that's all they take, and they can go on their way, and you can report it. The most important thing is to be a good witness, to be able to identify the person through descriptions, through clothing, through perhaps an accent, through, your hairstyle, length. All those things will help us in identify hopefully this suspect. And of course, there's always surveillance cameras all around that may be able to assist us and corroborate that information that you're giving the officers.
That's right. The investigation continues now. If you have any information, again, call Harris County at 713-274-9100, 713-274-9100. Now, this one leaves dozens of families displaced from their homes after a two-alarm fire that happened in the Houston area. It happened in the Wood Trail Apartments at 9900 block of Richmond Avenue around 7:40 in the morning. The Houston Fire Department responded to this call and said that 16 units were damaged in the blaze by smoke and, of course, water. Now, authorities say that the fire started in the upstairs unit and spread rapidly throughout the attic. According to the Houston Fire Department Chief Samuel Peña, the fire started from the electrical issue involving a power strip. Now, fortunately, no injuries were reported in this incident. Now, going hand in hand with this, there was also another incident, and this one, unfortunately, there was a loss of life. A person is dead after a house fire in the southwest Harris County area. According to Harris County Fire Marshal's office, the victim has been identified as an 81-year-old elderly man. No information has been released about the cause of the fire at this time, but this reminds us of the conversation that we had with firefighter Mario Gallegos just a few weeks ago about fire safety tips. He invites you to call him at 832-394-6633 because he's got some smoke detectors. He's got some carbon monoxide detectors free, no charge, completely free. Just call them up. That's 832-394-6633, 832-394-6633. Carbon monoxide, Rafael, is a silent killer. It will get you. It doesn't have any odors.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes people forget about that. You know, they kind of say, well, you know, I have no problems. I have no issues here at the house. But the thing is that you'll never know whether or not you have the issue until it's too late. So it's important to get those checked out.
So call Mr. Firefighter Mario Gallegos from the Houston Fire Department at 832-394-6633, 832-394-6633, and he has promised that they will go out there to your house and they will install these carbon monoxide detectors and, of course, those smoke detectors. It can save your life. I know we don't discuss these topics when it's right in the middle of the summer. We usually cover these topics when it's beginning of the winter time because of the heaters, because of all that other stuff. But there is a lot of people that do die because of this carbon monoxide intoxication. So please have those carbon monoxide detectors installed by the Houston Fire Department. They're completely free by calling firefighter Mario Gallegos at 832-394-6633. And they're going to serve you there well. I hope that you're able to write that number down. If not, revisit the program here in our social media. Now, police are searching for a suspect after a woman was found dead in her apartment in northwest Harris County. Deputies were called to the 10,000 block of North Eldridge Parkway just before 10 o'clock in the morning when Jael Romans Gonzalez of 22 was found in her apartment unresponsive. Investigators say that they did not find any signs of forced entry at the apartment when they arrived to the scene, but there were signs of foul play inside. Gallegos and Gonzalez lived on the third floor of this apartment complex. They were in a dating relationship. And of course, the couple was expected to be at a Father's Day event with the family a day before, but of course they didn't show up. Family members then went to the house and found Gonzalez unresponsive, and of course Gallegos was not at the location when they arrived. The Nissan Altima that they owned was not on site, so if you see a Nissan Altima, a silver Nissan Altima with license plates Lincoln John Nora 3031, then please report it, as it will be a vehicle of suspicion. And again, we have services, Rafael Pantoja, with our Special Victims Unit, our Victim Services Unit. If you know of anything, you hear commotion in an apartment next to you, you hear a fight happening between a couple, maybe you should intervene by being a good witness and calling the police.
Yeah, absolutely. So many times we hear of cases that have tragedies that happen, and then people begin to really recover their memory and say, you know what? Now that I think about it, I saw this, I heard this. You know, all those things could have helped. So if you see something, say something. It may help in saving the life of someone. It's not about being involved in another person's business. It's not about just being nosy, nothing like that. It's about trying to save someone else. A lot of people say, no, I don't want to get involved. It's their relationship. It's nothing having to do with me. I'm not doing anything. However, these little clues could have helped in trying to prevent this type of tragedy from happening.
That's right. Again, if you are a victim of domestic abuse, if you know someone close to you that's a victim of domestic abuse, the Houston Police Department has resources that are out there, and they're for your service. Even if you just have some questions regarding the help that we have resources, and sometimes these resources are untapped. They're not, people are not reaching out for them. Write this number down. I have two phone numbers that I want you to write. One is for a special victims unit, and that's at 713-308-1140. 713-308-1140. That's our special victims unit. That's a resource. Or our victim services unit. That's also a powerful phone line that you can call at 713-308-0080. 713-308-0080. The Houston Police Department puts resources for you. Now, on a positive note, Rafael, we were visiting communities this week and of course last week, this week, and we continue to do it for a few months during the campaign for GH-PAL. They are our police officers. They have a league of officers that go out there and speak to the youth. It's a powerful impact, Rafael.
No, absolutely, and that's what it's about. It's about reaching the youth. I know that Chief Henner, if you ask him, what's my priority, he will tell you it's youth programs, helping to rescue the youth, helping to really find something positive and productive for them to do, especially during the summer. And absolutely, that's what we do. We're trying to connect with the youth. We're trying to connect with them, show them that we are there to help. We're not just about arresting crooks. We're not just about following executing laws. Mm-hmm. We're also about helping you, assisting you, serving you. And I think that the best way is to connect with the youth, as our chief has said many times.
And right before we go to this video that you're going to enjoy from GH-PAL, something very fresh, where we visited a community and we exposed this summer program that the Houston Police Department has for the entire community. I just want to remind you, don't go anywhere, because we have Officer Abiona. He's going to be joining us in just a few seconds right here with us. We're going to be talking about hot vehicle deaths and some of the tips that we have for you. He's for South Gesner Community Service. And we also have our CERT unit officer, Officer O'Neill, and clinician Victoria, that's going to be joining us in just a few minutes in Community Shield. Let's go to this video and enjoy what the Houston Police Department is doing as we do outreach with our youth in this summer, hot summer. Harmony, what about you?
Robert.
Louder. What is your name?
Robert.
Robert, what about you?
Harlem.
Harlem, what about about you?
Heaven.
Heaven. Oh, I love those names. You guys ready to play?
Yes!
Louder.
Yes!
Woo! Come on, let's run this way. Come on.
Hi, I'm Officer Beatty with the Houston Police Department, and I work with the Greater Houston Police Activities League. And today we are here at 4002 Quarter at the Missionary Village Apartments, and we're doing a youth outreach out here. So we decided to come out and get involved with the community and get involved with some of these youth in the summer to give them an opportunity to do some activities. We got some games, we got some arts and crafts, we got some free food. It's just a great time for us to come out and be with them. The goal of this is to allow these youth to see the police in a different light other than in an enforcement environment. So we want them to know that we do care and we are involved in what they have going on and we are invested in their future. Look for us all summer long on Thursdays out here from 11 to 3. It's gonna be great.
My name is Kiara, and I think this is nice. The program is good, and I feel like it helps, like they're helping the kids, and I feel like that's a good thing because, you know, some people, they need it sometimes. That's good.
My name is Robin.
So what you think about this thing today?
I think about playing with cars.
Yeah? Are you having fun?
Yes,
Yeah, what are you playing?
basketball.
You're playing basketball? Can you present me your brother, your sisters?
They're my sisters.
Okay, who are they?
They next door. My
Okay.
friends.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Thumbs up. Yeah.
I think about one of my friends. I think about my friends because when I go in the house, I tell my mommy I'd be good.
Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Yay!
My name is Harmony, and I like having fun here. And it feels good when I play here. And I like playing basketball, and I know how to learn. I like when I play.
Hi, my name is Kiana, and I'm out here with the Greater Houston PAL Police Activity Leagues, and I think it's great that y'all out here, you know, saving the kids. My kids out here having fun. I think it's great. I love the police.
With the Houston Police Department. I've been out here at Southeast for 20 years. It's one of the complexes I frequent all the time. My man, he's been here also. We had some good times, some bad times, but it's all good right now, whatever, right?
Yes, sir.
So, the first time since out there, correct?
Yes, sir.
What you think about the police trying to get involved with the community?
Hey, it's a great thing.
Great
it's
thing?
great. That way the kids will know, you know, they see a lot on TV and the things that go on. They get to see firsthand with y'all being out here that y'all really care about the community instead of what they see on the TV and on the social media, you know?
We'd like to thank you for coming out because this really pals is police,
Yes, sir.
kids, and the community.
Yes, sir.
You definitely the community, you know what
Yes,
I'm saying?
sir. Yes,
so we
sir.
coming, we're gonna work together to get this thing going, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we're gonna
and
have fun.
I appreciate y'all for coming out here and showing the support and doing the things for the kids because, you know, this don't happen in too many communities, you know what I'm saying?
So I mentioned these about, what, 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
It's much different, right?
Yeah, it's way different.
So we
Matter
tried.
of fact, This before we remodeled the complex, because we actually was the ones to remodel the complex out here. It's been a long time, and it came a long ways from then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'd like to thank you very much. Thank you for coming out. You'll bring the kids out. It's going to be every third, well, 6 Thursdays.
Oh,
11
Thursdays.
11 3. We won't work the week of July 4th, but we're going to be out here.
Okay. We'll be out here. I appreciate it.
Nice to see you again.
Hey, y'all have a great day. Appreciate you. Y'all keep doing more. Tell the community to come out and show support for the officers.
Hello. It's me, Officer Triplett, coming in, representing that Clear Lake Division and with the GH Pals. I've been on GH Pals for a little over 4 years now, and let me tell you how amazing this thing has grown so far. So I remember we started off, we brought the program back a couple years ago, like I said, roughly around 4 years ago, after being gone for roughly around 20 years. So they started us out, put us in the field. We had to do what we had to do, start making these contacts, making these meetings with these principals in these schools, these apartment complexes like we're at right now. And guess what? Every year we have been growing bigger, and we have been getting stronger every year, building these communities and getting these relationships with the people. So do I believe GH Powell is working? Yes, from the direction of Sergeant Brown, the chief, and everybody coming on down, we are doing amazing things. Today we are in the Missionary Apartment Complex, which is located off of 4002 Quarter Road, and we are here to service the community like we always do for the summertime. It is hot outside, but our youth needs things to do. You want to go outside and just check it out? Let's go ahead and give it a little check out real quick. Oh, let me get my sunglasses because it's a little sunny outside. All right, so here we go. Oh, sorry about that. So part of the GH Power program, like I said, we are here to interact with our youth. So we are having, like I said, we're in the missionary apartment complexes. The kids are starting to wake up and they're starting to come out here to participate in some of the events that we have going on. For example, we have our world famous basketball court. You've probably seen that on some other videos right now. If you look to our right, my right, your left, you're going to see some officers over there. They're going to get ready to get this youth started by doing tie-dye events. We have a kickball set up for the kids once we get them out here. Food will be donated and provided. This event right here will be lasting 6 weeks throughout the summertime, starting with today. In the next 2 weeks, we're going to take a quick break for the 4th of July, and then we're going to come right back to end the summer off before these kids can start going back to school, get ready, get them a little tired out, but get them ready that way they can keep rocking and rolling and educate their minds for the school year and be great, be strong, and, go tell the story about how much fun they had with their community and the police officers who was out there servicing their community. So that's part of GH POW, and we're going to keep going and doing what we got to do. Thank you.
Welcome back. You're watching Community Shield of the Houston Police Department. That is some of the work that our Greater Houston Police Athletics League is doing all over the city and throughout the summer. We want to recognize Sergeant Brown and the whole team all over the city visiting different apartment complexes where there are at-risk children and they have access to these services that the Houston Police Department has. If you ever want to participate in something like this and you want to do some outreach with our community services unit with the Houston Police Department, please call us at 713-308-3200, 713-308-3200, and ask for Sergeant Brown in the GH PAL program of the Houston Police Department. We hope that you are enjoying this program. Now, something else that we want to touch on, which is of great importance, of course, is the mental health situation that we're living around the city. And of course, the Houston Police Department has a response. We have resources, we have help for people that are going through that. We have our CERT unit. In just a few minutes, they're going to be joining us in this program. And of course, we have our friends visiting from South Gessner Community Service Unit. We have Officer Abiona representing today, and Officer Michael, and we're going to be discussing hot vehicles. Now, with the summer season just underway, of course, we are right in the middle of it. Law enforcement and child protective services are under heightened alert when it comes to children being left in vehicles during soaring temperatures, the temperatures that we've been living just in these days. A 5-year-old boy identified as Trace Means has become another victim of hot vehicle deaths in the city of Houston in Harris County area. Now, Sheriff Ed Gonzalez said that this tragedy happened during a mother's rush to put together a birthday party. After Monday's incident, there has been 5 hot car deaths involving children this year so far in 2022, including 3 from the greater Houston area. And according to the Texas Department of Family Protective Services, after car crashes, heat stroke is something that is leading the number of deaths in the city of Houston. So let's be aware of these things. Officer Abiona, how are you doing, sir? Representing the Community Services Unit, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Doing very well. Thank you.
All right. So some of the tips that we want to discuss today in the everyday patrolling, everyday community services, we go to parking lots and we see vehicles. We see sometimes people even leave their pets. They leave their kids inside the car. A couple of tips that how can we prevent ourselves from forgetting that we have kids sitting in the back seat of our car?
I guess the number one thing I'd have to say is slow down. Slow down. In this day and age, we're all moving so fast. We have so many things we got to do, so many things we want to get done, and we're just ahead of ourselves. And sometimes you got to put one foot in front of the other and just slow down.
Slow down. We need to learn to see our priorities. I know that the school season is over. We are not used to having our kids on the everyday, and sometimes we make the mistake of forgetting that we have them in the back seat. Officer Michael, have you had a chance or maybe been called out to a scene where there is maybe a dog in a car, or you have to take some action on there? And if so, what are the things that we can do as civilians if we see an animal in stress inside our vehicle, or even if we see a child in the backseat of a car under stress?
I've been to a few calls where not only they lock the keys in the car and we have to call the fire department out there, but leave the keys, leave your phone in the back so you know that there's someone still back there. But the fire department's pretty quick to come out and unlock the car.
Sure, and he's talking in reference to not forgetting that you have a child or that you have a loved one sitting behind the car seat. Sometimes our kids, they sit back there and they fall asleep, especially if you're talking about a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old. They might just take a nap as you do your daily duties during the day. And it's really sad to say, but I must admit that maybe this device here, this cell phone, has become probably more important than our kids, or it takes our attention. And maybe, just maybe, a good idea would be to leave the cell phone right behind where your child is sitting at. So when you get off of that vehicle, you immediately start looking for the phone, right? And that's sad. You start looking for the phone. But if that's going to prevent you from forgetting that you have a child sitting behind, then it's a good thing. Now, let's say, Officer Abiona, if we leave our kids with a babysitter has our kids and they're out and about running errands, what are some of the things that we can do if we have our kids being watched by somebody else?
Call in. You want to call, check in, make sure everything's going all right from time to time. You just want to always have that communication line open with your babysitter or whoever your caretaker for your child will be. It's just important to just don't assume that everything's going great. Always call in, check in, and try to make sure that, hey, you didn't forget my kid, did you?
Yeah, that's good. Now, make it a habit also for everyone to get out of the car, even if you're stopping for a second. We've seen people go to gas stations and they're going to get off and just buy themselves an energy drink, and they leave the kids inside the car with the engine on. There is a hazard to that too, Officer Abiona.
Yes, there is a hazard to that. With the car running, carbon monoxide, all types of things like that. You take the chance of someone being able to just jump in your car and just take off. We've had plenty of calls where car thefts, carjackings have happened, and the child is still in the backseat of the vehicle. So it's something that I know, a lot of us have done, and it's something of the past that we've done in the past. But try to get out of that habit, because it's just nowadays it's just not a good habit to just fall into.
There it is. There it is. Some very, very important tips. We've seen these vehicles, they rise in temperatures pretty quick. About how many seconds can it take, Officer Michael, for that temperature to rise? I've sat in my car for a few minutes, and the temperature just goes up and you feel like you're suffocating.
Same with me. Just a few seconds and that temperature's up 20 degrees, maybe even higher.
All right, so there it is. Leave something of value. Your child should be the most valuable person in that vehicle, right? But I have to say it this way. Leave something else of value, all right? And you know what I'm talking about. Leave your cell phone. What about the chancla? Can you leave a chancla, Officer Abiona, in the back seat? Yeah?
You can leave that chancla in the back.
What about the tacon? Can you leave a tacon back there?
You can leave the tacon too.
All right, so you put a tacon, you put a chancla, you put anything that you know you can get off your car without. Of course, you can't get off the car without a shoe. Your purse, put it on the back seat. But I think even a shoe would be better, because you cannot get off the car without that shoe. Again, let's do it. Let's save lives. Let's not let your 5-year-old, 6-year-old, your child stay inside a vehicle. Another thing, is it recommended to leave your car unlocked when you're parked your vehicle at your home?
Oh no, that's not recommended. Always keep your vehicle locked at all times. If you're not in the vehicle, no one's in the vehicle, just leave it locked. If you leave it unlocked, you take the chances of perpetrators going inside and jumping inside your vehicle, and something you just don't want to mess with. It's safer to just keep the doors locked.
And of course, your child can jump in there, playing hide and seek, open the door, get in there, and maybe get locked up inside the car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you don't want to do that. That's why also DRT community service officers, when they get a call that there is somebody that dumped a refrigerator on the curb side of their house, and it's not secured, tightened up, closed up, you can get a citation for having an apparatus like that sitting in the front yard of your house because of the same reasons. It's a danger to kids. Kids can go inside a refrigerator, get themselves jammed up in there. Refrigerator may collapse and they can be locked up inside, and that can also be a fatal issue. Officer Abiona, in community affairs, is that something you guys see sometimes?
Yeah, we see that a few times. Apartment complexes, things like that, where they're replacing the old furniture out of, or remodeling an older apartment and remodeling it and making it nicer, and they'll have appliances outside by the dumpster, and the kids, when they're playing hide and seek, a dryer or a refrigerator looks like a really good place to hide, and not knowing that in a refrigerator, a washing machine, dryer, they open from the outside, not from the inside, and they tend to get stuck or trapped inside, and it could be an issue. It could be an issue.
There it is, Officer Abiona, Officer Michael from South Gilson Community Service. Thank you so much for joining Community Shield, and thank you for the amazing tips you guys provided, okay?
We try.
All right, we'll be right back. We have our CERT unit. They're going to be giving us some tips, and they're going to tell us a little bit about what they do and why they are HPD's priority response whenever there is a mental health issue that you're calling in. And of course, we're going to have Veronica Hernandez from Department of Neighborhood. She has an event that she wants to remind everybody that is going to be happening tonight. So we'll be right back.
going to be a hot one out there today. Stay cool.
Mama.
Today we're here to do a demonstration on leaving kids and pets in their hot cars. Today I have our HPD canine dog Gunner, who's also here to remind pet owners about leaving their pets inside hot cars. Gunner is one of our canine dogs, and we're just here to demonstrate that pets are important just as kids, about leaving their dogs and kids inside their cars. Gunner will be getting out of the vehicle, and he will not be sitting inside the hot car like I will be, to demonstrate how long it takes for kids to overheat.
Well, dogs cannot sweat like people do, so they cannot cool like we typically do. Their way of cooling is panting. That's how they exchange their heat. When the temperature increases outside, their effective exchange of that heat decreases, and it makes it harder for them to cool themselves. With hot cars, that temperature, even in cracked windows, can be 15 to 25 degrees higher in just a matter of minutes, making it impossible for them to cool, and actually causes their temperature to rise 105, 110 degrees pretty rapidly. Early stages, panting is the first one, as you mentioned. After that, you can start to see rapid heart rates, you can see lethargy, we can see seizures, bloody diarrhea, bloody vomit, bruising. Those are later stages, but initially it's panting, being tired, and sometimes some seizures. Each dog is different. Some dogs might last a bit longer, some might not. It's not worth the risk. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
It is 10:54 at this time. The outside temperature is 85 degrees Fahrenheit. The inside temperature of the car is already 10 degrees higher than what it is outside temperature at 95 degrees. I've been sitting in this vehicle for 6.5 minutes, and the temperature has already gone to 101 from the original of 90 degrees. Okay, it has gone up to 106.7 in 16 minutes. Actually, the temperature is lower today than normal days in Houston. So imagine on a regular sunny July or August hot day what the temperature would be outside at this time of morning.
Okay, how long were you in there for?
That registered 20 minutes.
20 minutes, okay.
Yeah, so.
And how many degrees did it go up?
22.3, almost 23 degrees in 20 minutes. But definitely, I mean, you feel your whole body sweating everywhere, you know, and the heat just kept, you could tell the heat was just increasing, and just the sun, even though most of it was under clouds, that temperature, that once that sun came out, you could actually feel it inside the car. You put your body out in the sun, and you put your other arm, you know, out in the shade area, and you feel the difference.
You're watching Community Shield of the Houston Police Department. Again, we just discussed hot vehicle deaths in the city of Houston. But let's move on to the next subject, something that is in high need, especially the temperature rises. We see so many different incidents rise, and that is, one of them is mental health issues. We do have a lot of that going on around the city. I've been affected. My family's been affected. And this is why we have invited our friends, Officer O'Neill and clinician Victoria. They represent the CERT team with the city of Houston. Of course, they are the response that we have for mental health issues. Of course, we do have police officers that are trained in CIT, and they go out there as the first responders. And of course, if there's something more complicated, they all summon our friends from the CERT unit. Now, Mrs. Victoria, please tell me a little bit about yourself, about what you guys do as a CERT unit.
I am a licensed professional counselor, and I am paired up with my partner, O'Neill. We go out and we respond to crisis calls. Typically, someone might call 911 because maybe a family member is acting abnormal, or perhaps they have untreated mental health diagnosis. So they'll call us out. Me and my partner go out and we assess the situation. We talk to them. I'm able to figure out maybe what's going on, how it started, what the family tells us. We talk with the consumer, and we figure out from there kind of what the next step is for them.
Now, as a licensed counselor, you have special training. What is your training consist of?
So I have a lot of training in basically mental health. I can do therapy, and in this department specifically, I'm taught a lot of things to do with crisis intervention, how to be able to detect certain diagnoses like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression, how to know if someone is in imminent danger, if they're suicidal, if they're homicidal, if they're decompensating mentally, and what is the best practice for taking care of those consumers.
And of course, something that's really cool is that you're not a uniformed officer, so you get to connect with the families and the person that's going, the consumer, in a different way, right?
Absolutely. I think that's probably the most unique and, in my opinion, my favorite thing about this program, because we take a different approach a little bit to law enforcement. We have that therapeutic background, so we're able to establish that rapport, even if just for a few minutes with the families. And you'll notice how when you approach the consumer, kind of me and O'Neill, we can assess who the consumer is going to respond best to in that moment. And sometimes he takes the lead and I follow, and sometimes I take the lead and he follows. And my approach can sometimes be a little bit softer, and you just notice how immediately they become a little bit more calm just with being able to approach them with a therapeutic perspective. When
you say therapeutics, I can imagine the incense and just aromatherapy. All right, now, Officer O'Neill, tell me a little bit about what you do. When do you come in, and when does Victoria come in the conversation when you guys arrive to the scene?
A lot of times we get to the scene, and we'll usually approach the officer. If there's another officer already on scene, we'll approach him, talk to him, find out what's going on exactly, like what led up to them being here, whether it was a phone call or they saw something or somebody, witnessed something that happened. And we'll arrive on scene, and like I said, we'll talk to them, kind of get a feel. If there's family members, we'll talk to them. We try to get a feel for, is this something that your significant other or whoever displays on a regular basis, or is this something highly unusual? We try to get a feel for them, and then we'll talk to the consumer. And like she said, a lot of times we'll approach. I usually let her try talking to them first, but then on occasion they'll either ignore her, or they won't say anything, or they may give her a rude response, in which case I might try to jump in and talk to them and see if we can, see if they'll be more apt to talk to me. Because like she said, sometimes they can feed off our energy or whatever, and they may want to talk to her, or they may want to just talk to me, depending on what the situation is.
And what is the worst thing that when somebody's going through a crisis that family members can do when someone's going through something? Some of the things that we should avoid as people around somebody that's going through a crisis.
Well, I mean, my opinion, you kind of want to listen to them, find out what they're saying, because that's going to dictate what they're thinking and how they're feeling. If they're having thoughts of suicide, or if they're saying they're having thoughts of homicide, you want to make sure that that you take those things seriously and you act upon them. If they're just talking random, like they see ghosts in the house, then you might want to talk to them, but kind of get a feel for what they're saying, because sometimes some people just want to talk. The consumers themselves just want to find out they want to be heard, be listened to, and that's key, I think, when you're dealing with consumers.
And it's great that you mentioned that about being good listeners, especially if you are surrounding or witnessing a person going through a crisis, because when you make that phone call to 911 and you get those emergency vehicles out there, you want to inform dispatch what exactly is happening out there. What are some of the information that you look for as an officer when you're reading the MDT? What are you looking for? What are the key things that you are keying on and that you're preparing mentally when you arrive to the scene?
For me as an officer, I'm always keying on Is there any mention of weapons? Because the consumers like to have weapons, whether it be a bat or a knife or a gun or whatever. Try to find out if there's any relative on scene. Like sometimes it'll say a mother is calling about their son. So that always helps knowing, being prepared to be able to talk to a family member. You know, we always want to know if there was any signs of violence on the scene. You know, whether the consumer assaulted somebody or threatened assault. Those are key aspects we look for, because that helps us know that this person we're going to is going to be volatile, and we want to be aware of that. You know, but if it has no signature of that, sometimes the call slips can be very vague about what's going on, and a lot of times if there's an officer on scene, I'll try to contact them and have them tell me and say, hey, you're there. What do you see? What's going on? Do we need to be prepared on, you know, for anything else?
And of course, honesty, especially for the caller, not to keep anything away from the dispatcher. Let us know everything that's going on so that the officer that arrives already has a game plan or has thought about what's going on. And because there are alternative methods of dealing with a situation, especially if it becomes extremely violent. Now, as a counselor, what are you looking for when you get to these scenes?
I'm looking to see how, I guess, imminent the danger may be. Are they actively suicidal? If they're suicidal, do they have a plan, or are they just thoughts? If they're homicidal, do they have a plan? Is there a weapon involved? Usually if there's a weapon involved, I'm in the car until the scene's been cleared, or the consumer has been detained. I'm looking to see kind of are their basic needs being met? Are they eating? Are they sleeping? Are they having hallucinations? Are they currently experiencing delusions? And what do those delusions look like? What do they need from us? Because sometimes we meet consumers that aren't in imminent danger, and they might still need something from us. Do you still want to go to the psych hospital? Do you need to get in contact with different mental health resources like MCOD or things like that? So the main priority for us is how can we best serve you? What do you need in this moment?
And of course, in these situations, this is why it's so important that we bring these guys over. This is Houston Police Department's response. We have so many resources, especially, she just said MCOD. What is MCOD?
MCOD is the Mobile Crisis Outreach Team. They are two clinicians like myself. They don't look like this. They look like in regular clothes. And they come out. It's a voluntary mental health resources, so the consumer can reach out to them. For instance, if we go out to a scene and that is something the consumer says that they're interested in, I would make a referral, and then MCOT would get in contact with the consumer, and they can provide mental health resources that can look like a lot of things. It can look like medication management, get them in contact with mental health needs, set up appointments for them to get medication, those types of things.
All right, so there it is. The Houston Police Department has different methods of responding to somebody that's going through a crisis. And of course, we want you to tap into these resources. If you see somebody going through a crisis, call 911, call us and get us out there. Make sure that you're very clear about the situation that you're going through and that you're very honest with dispatcher. That way, we are prepared adequately to respond to your scene. Officer O'Neill, thank you so much. And Counselor Victoria, anything else you want to add?
No, I just take care of yourselves, and I think watch out for your family members and your friends. Check in with them and see if they're okay. And like you'd mentioned, people on the streets, if you see things, call, because you could save somebody's life.
Save somebody's life, and that is the priority that the Houston Police Department has, saving people's lives. And we have resources available for you. Tap into them. Please don't be afraid. Be as honest as you can be with the dispatcher. Let us know exactly what's going on so that we can send the resources that are adequate and needed for your loved one. We'll be right back. We have we have Mrs. Hernandez with us in just a few minutes. We're going to be talking about an event that's coming up. And of course, some other little issues here at the Houston Police Department. Community Shield. We'll be right back. As we continue with Community Shield of the Houston Police Department, we want to thank our friends from Now Media for allowing us to go into so many different markets all over the United States. So many cities, so many areas that are watching the program, even those that are watching, that are listening on the radio on 102.9 in Chicago and so many other different places. Again, thank you for welcoming us here. And of course, you can always do outreach to your police department. They probably do certain similar things that we do in the Houston Police Department, but call them up and ask as we move on and we discuss more issues. We have Veronica Hernandez from from Department of Neighborhoods for the City of Houston. And we have another issue, Veronica, that we want to talk about, which is dog attacks. We've seen these dogs, these attacks that are happening all over the city. And we want to make sure that we provide the resources to the community that's watching right now. What is a response that the City of Houston has with loose dogs, with nuisance dogs on the streets?
Well, the City of Houston has many calls that come through 311 related to stray dogs in the neighborhood. Many times, you know, people call in, they say this dog is loose in the neighborhood. We want to BARC to come out and pick it up. And we also know that sometimes our neighbors, you know, tend to see dogs that are loose and they're out there trying to feed the dogs, so they're not going to go away. We make sure that the constituents know that they can call 311 to report these dogs. And if they're dangerous, if they have bitten someone, you make sure you ask 311 to connect you directly to a representative with BARC.
Yes, just recently we had terrible news of a man that was attacked by 2 pit bulls and he got severely injured and died from his injuries. And now if a dog attacks you, just remember, keep your hands away from the dog, from the mouth. Don't put your hands near the fighting dog's mouth. Don't grab the collar of the dog. Don't try to, the dog is just going to get more excited and it's going to engage you. If you're out there walking the streets, something that I'm just shocked not seeing in some of the recommendations that I've read is having a stick with you. If you're a regular walker on the streets, if you might want to have something. Some people carry an umbrella to protect themselves from the sun, but it would be good and recommended for you to carry something in your hands just to create some distance in case a dog is so bold to come up to you and be barking at you. We have resources, 311. If you see loose dogs in the area, report 311. Or if you see a dog that's dangerous and that's behaving dangerous, call 911 and let us know so that we go and tackle the situation. Now, there's an event, Veronica, coming up today.
There is a public safety town hall meeting that's taking place. The Councilmember Tiffany Thomas is hosting her 2nd annual town hall meeting. Of course, our chief of police will be there tonight, along with the officers that represent the West Side area and the District F area. So we invite all persons to come out. They have any concerns, any questions, the chief will be available there. You would also be able to meet those officers that work in your neighborhood.
Where is this going to be at?
So this is going to be held at the Tracy G. Community Center, which we're really close to it right now. And it will be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. tonight.
Okay, how do we get there?
So it is close to West Park, and it is close to Beltway 8. And I'll give the specific address.
Okay. Let's go to this event. Remember, we have the community people that actually are going to, the movers and shakers, we call that, movers and shakers. They're going to listen to your concerns and give you a quick response to what the concerns that you need. What's the location?
It's 3599 West Center Drive.
Okay.
And it's really close to the West Chase. Is it actually in the West Chase area?
All right, so don't miss that. It's going to be tonight at 7 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, so don't miss it. This event at the community center, what's the name of it?
Tracy G. Community Center.
Tracy G. Community Center. Guys, Veronica, thank you so much for being here with us from the Department of Neighborhoods. Next week, we have an awesome program prepared for you. Again, my name is Officer Jesus Robles on behalf of the Houston Police Department, Office of Community Affairs, our Chief Troy Finner. Thank you so much for watching the show, and we hope that you share. Thank you so much. Now Media and Aldo Media Group, we're signing off.
This has been a Now Media television feature presentation. All rights reserved.
En vivo desde Houston, la ciudad espacial. Esto es NowMedia Televisión.
Hola, les saluda Gilsi Sánchez, directora de Better World Business Centers. Nuestra misión es apoyar al pequeño empresario con centros de negocios virtuales y de espacios compartidos en las ciudades de Houston y Katy. Contamos con instalaciones de primer nivel equipadas con espacios compartidos, internet de ultra alta velocidad, servicios de asistente virtual, centro de negocios y sala de conferencias con equipos audiovisuales de última generación. Y todo aquello que necesita el empresario que inicia para que su negocio crezca de manera sólida y sostenible. Llámeme al 281-944-9116 o visítenos en nuestra página de internet y permítanos ser parte de su éxito.
Administrar su propiedad toma tiempo de su vida diaria. Muchos propietarios de viviendas e inversionistas confían en la experiencia y confianza de Elda Management Services para la completa administración de sus propiedades. Elda Management Services se encarga de manera completa de todo lo relacionado con la administración de su propiedad, no importa si usted está en los Estados Unidos o en el extranjero. Monitoreamos el estado de su propiedad de alquiler y nos encargamos de cualquier solicitud de mantenimiento que pueda tener. Nos fijamos en los cobros de renta, hasta servicios de control y mantenimiento para los inquilinos. En Elda Management Services nos encargamos en todo esto sin que usted se preocupe. Muchas personas en todo el mundo que buscan invertir en bienes raíces en Houston y los alrededores nos contactan porque somos confiables y ofrecemos el más alto nivel de servicios para su propiedad. Y si está pensando en comprar, vender o arrendar una propiedad, Elda Management Services puede ayudarle a encontrar su próxima gran inversión en Houston y los alrededores, y todo a través de propiedades dentro y fuera del MLS. Elda Management Services ha obtenido el premio a la excelencia por BBB 6 años consecutivos, incluyendo 2 premios Pinnacle, que es el premio más alto dado. Además, hemos formado parte de NARPM durante más de 12 años, incluyendo la presidencia de nuestro capítulo de Houston en 2018. Llame a Elda Management Services hoy al 281-894-8659 y deje que gestionemos su propiedad con los más altos estándares.